Hello guys, and welcome to a day in my life, lockdown edition. I'm going to make this intro quick because honestly, the sound of that alarm is triggering me. My name is Paige, I'm a third-year student at the University of Cambridge studying astrophysics. And along with a large proportion of the world's population, I'm currently on lockdown. I'm completing my final term of my degree at home, and this is what my typical day looks like. I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'm not a morning person. Here's me contemplating life, coming to terms with the fact that I gotta get up. First thing I do is let some daylight into the room and make my bed. My room is the tidiest it's ever been, just because it's in the background of all of my video calls for university, and I can't deal with the embarrassment of having a messy room. No mess, no stress. I guess I am spending a lot of my time in my room after all, so it's nice to have an organised living space. Once I've put on my pink fluffy dressing gown and slippers, I head down to the kitchen. I very rarely skip breakfast. Being hungry is a key factor in motivating me to get out of bed in the first place. On this day, I opted for some shreddies and orange juice. Is that a weird mix? I'm not sure. I decided to read some articles from New Scientist magazine whilst I was eating breakfast. I'm really rather into it. There's some really interesting articles and it just warms up my brain for the day. After I've finished breakfast, I grab my bathroom stuff and head off to have a shower. You'll notice I don't get up super early, it's normally about 10 o'clock by the time I've got dressed. Also, I am living in loungewear at the moment. I prioritise comfort, you know? I've got into the habit of making a time plan the night before. It tends to keep me focused the following day. So here it is, look what exciting things are in store. I don't always strictly stick to it, but I like to have some sense of structure. I took a seat at my desk where I do the majority of my work. Yes, I started 15 minutes later than planned. I'm not perfect. The folder of notes I needed was already out from the previous day. You can see I keep the rest of my folders in a bookcase over in the right-hand corner. I was starting the day with some relativity questions. My course covers special relativity and general relativity. Special relativity is a theory relating space and time in the absence of gravity. General relativity is a geometric theory where gravity is described by the curvature of space-time. Whilst attempting questions, I was also sorting through old work that I'd completed for supervisions. It was a much-needed refresher. I hadn't looked at this topic for a few months because it was lectured in my first term of the year. This year, I'm very aware that the best preparation for exams is doing lots and lots and lots of practice questions, and I'm trying not to fall into my usual perfectionist trap of spending ages poring over the notes until I'm convinced I can recite them, only to realise I can't answer any questions in practice. At midday, I had a Zoom call with the Institute of Astronomy, which is my university department. My whole cohort dialed in and we were given more information on the running of our final term and also how remote assessments are going to work. I just sat and listened and made lots of notes. It was quite an important call. You know, my final assessment, my final grade for my degree all rests on this. Once the Zoom meeting was over, I went to annoy my mum, who's working from home in the upstairs study. I debriefed her on what was said in my video call, assigned her the new job of stand-in exam invigilator. Then I went to say hi to my dad. He's working from home in the lounge. Next stop was the kitchen. Meet my sister Lydia. She's watching Netflix and gaming from home. It's a really hard life for her. 1 o'clock is time for lunch. I made myself a sandwich and my other family members trickled in to make their lunch too. I like to eat lunch at the same time as the rest of my family if possible. It's just nice to have some social interaction throughout the day. After lunch, my sister was bored and wanted me to play on our Nintendo Switch console with her. The good person that I am, I agreed to sacrifice some work time and spend 20 minutes playing Super Mario Bros. Oh no, what a chore! Then it was time to get back to work. I started prepping for another video call I had with advisors from university later in the day. I'd booked a half-hour online appointment and so I wanted to make the most out of it. I originally intended only to spend a short time on this prep work, but I got a bit carried away, got a bit too into my research and spent a good couple of hours on it. But it was useful, it wasn't a waste of time. At 4:30 I hopped onto Skype. I had an interesting conversation with the advisor from university, and it was handy to hear some words of wisdom from them. After the call, I went for a brief chat with my dad and asked for his opinions. Yes, I talk to my parents a lot, we're quite close, and I like to keep them updated on my university and academic matters. Then my sister appears, complaining about my mum. It seems there's been some family bickering. Ooh, this video is getting exciting. Enter mother, hands on hips. Here we've got a little bit of a debate going on. Who ate that last biscuit? I just sat back and didn't get involved. It's coffee time! I like an afternoon coffee these days. I'm very much missing my daily coffee breaks at the Institute of Astronomy. Now I have to supply my own coffee. What can you do? I knew it was all too good to be true. I headed back to my desk with my coffee. I started working on those pesky relativity questions that I'd been stumped on earlier. I usually dedicate full days to one module, in this case relativity, rather than jumping between smaller pieces of work from different topics. It means I'm less likely to skip the more challenging parts of the course, and it just keeps me in the flow. After about an hour had passed, I quickly checked my emails to break up the studying. It's really important that we check our emails regularly at the moment and remain contactable. We're expected to organise our own online teaching sessions with our supervisors, and we also need to stay informed on the university's up-to-date guidance. Here I'm reading one of the frequent emails we receive from the Vice-Chancellor of the university. They're usually intended to be a bit of a morale boost, as well as containing all the latest updates from across the university. I decided to put on some music whilst I did another hour of work. I've been listening to music a lot lately, more than ever before. I used to find it distracting, and I still do to an extent, but it also motivates me to get working in the first place and puts me in a good mood. At 7:35, I got the call that dinner was ready, so I packed up my work for the day. I like to leave my desk in a somewhat tidy state, so I packed away my pencils, turned off my computer. Dinner was meatball pasta gloop made by my sister. Surprisingly tasty, I must say. Compliments to the chef. After dinner, I got changed into some comfy clothes. It was time to relax in the evening. I do often continue with university work in the evenings, but on this day I had a virtual social planned. I video called the Coxes, who are my friends from university who I met through the college boat club. It was a really wholesome call and a good substitute for our usual meetup in the college bar. The biggest thing I'm missing about Cambridge is the interaction with other people, so it was really nice to see some familiar faces. After 2 hours, I said goodbye to my friends and got out the Nintendo Switch. To wind down, I played some Animal Crossing New Horizons in bed. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel. Also, follow me over on Instagram. My username is @_Paige_Y. My goal is to get to bed before midnight, so I'm gonna leave you here. See you later.